Hey, what's up guys? It's Andrews here from RG. So, what are my favorite games? Stalker, GTA 5, Fallout, Skyrim, and ARMA 3 have in common? Yeah, they're all great games, but it's the potential to mod them and to create your own vision of that particular game that makes them really special to me. With half a decent PC, some free time, and a passion to learn, you can create unlimited playtime with these games. Sometimes it's frustrating to learn how to mod. I've been modding now for about 20 years, and getting things right is sometimes not easy and incredibly time consuming. Hell, I still mess up most of the time, just like you guys will. The fulfillment of creating these worlds and molding a game into your image is something that you will never forget and will live with you forever, as it has with me and many other people. Every game is different when it comes to modding. Sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's hard, but it's always different. So you can't learn modding as a general skill. You can only learn modding for a specific game. Some of the game languages are comparable, and the more you mod, simply the better you get at it. And some developers pack their game files into archives which are actually just standard compression formats like zip with a different file extension. But if you're less lucky, as with games like GTA 5, they might use custom formats, which means you have to use third-party programs like OpenIV, which enable you to go under the hood, extract and edit the files and scripts, and then recompile them to your suiting. When it comes to the game logic, sometimes the game has their logic script files which you can edit if you understand their scripting language, but most of the time you want to stay away from that level unless you're really into coding or just extremely clever, which I'm not. Since 2002, all games made by Bethesda Game Studios, not to be confused with Bethesda Softworks, the publisher, can be modified in different ways. They all have a decent SDK, which is the Service Development Kit, and other unofficial stuff like script extenders or community-based utilities which help you mod the game. The ability to mod the games and then test them is some kind of game itself. It's like a hobby, and depending how deep you go and how much of a perfectionist you are, it can be a nightmare. It's like Dark Souls for intellectuals. It's blood, sweat and tears, with the visible result being a good-looking game with well-working scripts and mechanics that is suitable, performs well, is stable, and reaches your expectations. This is easier said than done and requires patience, commitment, and a willingness to learn and fail over and over again. If I had a penny for every time I'd seen the startup menu for these games, you would also probably nerf your game, corrupt your saves, and lose progress. But who cares? It's not the destination, guys, it's the journey. And for many of you that mod at a high level and learn the fundamental skills, they will last you forever. Hell, some of us even end up working in the gaming industry. It's not unusual for a big gaming developer to employ the best modders out there, using their work as a resume. I've personally seen this happen with people in ARMA and within Skyrim, where the top tier mods have been converted into actually paid content. These games and titles are more than just games to be played once and put to the side. They are worlds for you to create your own vision, your own realities in. Focusing on the Elder Scrolls and Fallout for a moment, they would be nothing without their worlds. However, these worlds have to work somehow, have to make you believe and be immersed in them. This is why with each new game, artificial intelligence of the NPCs, which isn't really artificial intelligence, but it gets better and better, or at least more complicated. They rely on a huge amount of scripts which are executed at certain conditions. Every NPC has their stats, their conversations and phrases, and most of them serve as aliases for certain quests which work on the background and use them to say or do something. This is a very complicated system, and I guess much more complicated than in most of the role-playing games like Assassin's Creed Odyssey or The Witcher. Since the system is very complicated, it's modifiable. There is a tool which allows you to maintain it. If a certain NPC or character gets stuck, if a quest doesn't work like it should, or if you need to test a mod, all you've got to do is hit the tide key for the console. And now, how many games do you know that actually have a console? I mean, relatively new games. With console, which allows you to access the special commands without any editing of the INI files. Not for silly cheat codes or for manipulating the game to give yourself more money, but for doing anything that the game allows you to do with any object in it. This openness of a system is also supported by the SDK and the creation kit, which may be used not only as a tool for modding, but also as a tool for gathering information of what you'd like to fix. The games, in general, are very generic and simple in their basic mechanics. You can walk, you can run, you can jump, you can crouch. You can also use weapons as they're meant to be used. In Skyrim and Fallout, you can use different things like magic shouts and the Pip-Boy. You can switch between first and third person modes. You can also save and load at any time. Basics of the basics. Everything else works above it. It feels like Bethesda created the simplest environment for you and I to communicate with the world, but playing it may be actually uncomfortable in comparison to other first person games. Skyrim, Fallout, Stalker, ARMA 3, they aren't bad games, but they are very flawed games. The mechanics just don't feel right sometimes. But they're amazing worlds, and that's why people love them. If you're not modding these games with a goal to achieve a beautiful project visually or logically, you may still consider these games as games. If you mod, if you're looking for immersion and consistency and realism, you understand that these games are more than games. They are software to simulate a living world with thousands of settings which allow you to tune your game like a musical instrument, a very complicated musical instrument, which is why I'm genuinely excited for Starfield. Not because it's going to be a good game. I was fully expecting it to be a broken piece of you-know-what. But as it is, and as Bethesda do, in their style of role-playing, they've now created a sci-fi space opera setting where we're going to be able to explore it under all the guises of our favourite space franchises. And that's what it's all about. GTA 5, with a few paywall mods, can be turned into GTA 6 tomorrow, with a full realistic environment, LA Revo, natural vision evolved, etc. Make the game essentially a driving simulator in LA, real world, with stunning graphics that will immerse you into something unforgettable. Fallout 4 can be converted into a realistic post-apocalyptic world. Think I Am Legend or some other gritty post-apocalyptic movie like The Road. Gone is the Pip-Boy, in with the real weapons and the environment. Radiation is real. Skyrim can be converted into a magical, colourful fantasy land using content from your favourite shows and movies, Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones. The list continues. Stalker, which is the oldest game on the list and the first game I started to mod. Well, let's just say, guys, I had to build up the courage to play that game every time I booted it up, and I've completed it 3 or 4 times now. It's simply terrifying if modded correctly, and there's nothing off the shelf in the market that can compare to the level of story and horror, in my opinion. And finally, my lost love, ARMA 3, which is the only multiplayer co-op game on this list. Modding ARMA 2 and 3 into a modern military current day milsim sandbox, where once the maps, models, scripts and add-ons were in place, a unique platform was created that I enjoyed with friends for over 15 years. There is nothing more satisfying than getting 200 plus super complicated mods to work perfectly in your own custom merge patches and overwrites, then releasing those fixes into the world while contributing to the wider community internet, sharing the wealth in the traditional way. Some of the modern platforms like Nexus and Wabberjack allow you to automatically download a collection of mods from creators. They simply include all the patches and the stability that you need. This was created and tailored towards the console market mainly to make everything more convenient and accessible. And Skyrim and Bethesda have really made a lot of money and a lot of interest off the back end of modders, maintaining this game for as long as it has. It's all plug and play, however, you won't be playing something unique and in your own image, but essentially all the hard work is done. You still need basic knowledge of what you're doing, and I would highly suggest you start building your own mod list for these games. The reason being, what you create is obviously unique to you. So what are you waiting for? While we wait for Starfield to be optimized and patched, break out these games, mod them, enjoy them, keep commanding armies and conquering worlds. I can assure you, no out-of-the-box game on the market can compare to what you can create thanks to all the talented modders in the world, and you have all the platforms out there to do it. This video that I'm creating today marks the 1-year closure of reality gaming. And although many of us are doing different things, I'm certain that one day we will all come together again to create a world that we can all enjoy. That's it from me, guys. I will put all the links to all the games I've mentioned and all the modding sites you can use. If you've got any questions about the modding or anything I can help you with, be sure to put it in the comments. And if you listened up until now, consider subbing. I'm going to leave you with one of my favourite adverts from many, many years ago. But now, guys, this is Andrews, signing off.
For years I've lived a double life. In the day I do my job, I ride the bus, roll up my sleeves with the hoi polloi. But at night, I live a life of exhilaration.
Of missed heartbeats and adrenaline.
And, if the truth be known,
a life of dubious virtue.
I won't deny I've been engaged in violence, even indulged in it.
I've assailed adversaries, and not merely in self-defence.
I've exhibited disregard for life,
limb
and property.
And savoured every moment.
You may not think it to look at me,
but I have commanded armies
and conquered worlds.
And though in achieving these things,
I have set morality aside,
I have no regrets.
For though I've led a double life, at least I can say
I have lived.